Hi, this is Sarit Switzer, and welcome to the It Is Taught podcast, a podcast devoted to the teachings of Rabbi Shneur Zalman of Liadi as recorded in his most famous work, the Tanya. My hope for this show is to make these teachings accessible and relatable to the average person, regardless of prior Jewish education or affiliation. The episodes follow the prescribed daily study portions and are meant to serve as practical lessons in how to live your life as your true self and develop an authentic and powerful relationship with your Creator. I have personally experienced the effects the study of this work has had on me, and I'm excited to share what I can of this knowledge with you. So please join me on this journey of learning, self-growth, and connection with your source. Hi, and welcome to the It Is Taught podcast. This is episode 138 for the 8th of Nissan in a leap year. So today we are still in the middle of chapter 40, and we're going to be continuing with this bird analogy that we've been talking about. If you listened to yesterday's episode, and if you didn't yet, please go back and listen to it. We've been discussing how a bird is really a symbol for our service of God. And in specific, we talked about how the bird is actually symbolic of the angel Metatron, who is synonymous with the world of Yetzirah. And we looked at the makeup of a bird, the main components of the bird, namely its head, its body, and its wings. And we talked about how each one of them represents a different part of the Tetragrammaton, as well as a different aspect of our service of God. So today we're going to continue with this, and we're going to talk about how the main part, we're going to compare the body of the bird with the wings of the bird. And we're going to talk about how the main part of the bird is really its body. It's, if God forbid, let's say if you had a bird who didn't have wings, it would still be considered a bird. However, if you just had wings and no body, you wouldn't have a bird. So the main thing is really the body. However, the wings, as we know, are actually really important because the wings are what allow the bird to fly. And without wings, the bird, God forbid, would not be able to fly. So this is analogous, once again, to our service of God in the sense that the main component of our service of God is not love and fear. The main component is doing God's will, God's commandments, the Torah and mitzvahs. That's sort of like the meat and potatoes of our connection with God, our service of God. So if you just have tremendous love and fear of God, but you don't keep God's Torah, you're not really doing the proper thing. You're not living the right way. But if you just keep Torah and mitzvahs and you don't have love and fear of God, while it's not ideal, we can't say that you're not actually doing the right thing. Like you're doing the bare minimum. You're doing what you need to do. However, we talked about this earlier in the chapter, the only issue with this, with not infusing this love and fear, another which we can also say is intention, is then your Torah and mitzvahs won't be able to rise. They won't be able to ascend up to the higher realms, which is what we ultimately want them to do. That's their purpose. So this is why wings, in other words, love and fear of God, are really essential. So let's get into the text and see how the Alter Rebbe explains this. So the Alter Rebbe says that just like the wings of a bird are not the main thing of the bird, they're not the main component of the bird, and the life force of the bird is not dependent upon them at all. So this is just like what is implied in the Mishnah, and this is from Masechet Chulin, chapter 3, Mishnah 4, where it says, Nitlu agafea kshera. So this is literally means if a bird doesn't have wings anymore, if its wings were taken off of it, it's still considered kosher. So again, showing us that the main aspect of a bird is not actually its wings, but rather the main thing is the head of the bird and its entire body. And the wings, the purpose of the wings is that they serve the head and the body to allow this bird to fly with them. And now this is analogous to the Torah and mitzvahs. This is the main thing of the supernal unity is through the Torah and mitzvah. And the Torah and mitzvahs is what reveals the supernal will. And the love and fear, they elevate this Torah and mitzvahs to the place in which the will, in other words, the light of the infinite, the light of the infinite, of blessed be He, the light of infinite God, and His unity will be revealed, which is, what is this referring to? This is referring to the worlds of Yetzirah and Bria. So in other words, the actual unity that happens happens as a result of the Torah and mitzvahs that we do. This causes the actual unity. However, for this unity to be revealed in the higher realms, specifically in the realms of Yetzirah and Bria, we need to have the wings. We need to have the love and fear of God. Now the Alter Rebbe goes into a footnote here, and the footnote is in reference to the world. So we're going to have a little bit of an understanding of worlds and how that works. So just we concluded this section before getting to the footnote saying that this elevation happens in the higher realms, namely Yetzirah and Bria. But now in the note here, in the brackets, the Alter Rebbe says that it actually could be not only Yetzirah and Bria, but this revelation may also happen in the world of Asiya, which is the lowest of all worlds. That's where our world is, in the 10 spheres of holiness, which is the place of the practical mitzvahs, and also the place of a mikra. Mikra is scripture. So this is to just explain that. So when we say learning Torah, what do we mean by that? There's many different ways that we could learn Torah. So there's learning the scripture of Torah. This is like Bible study, we can think of it. So that's Mikra. Then there's Mishnah, which is the oral Torah as it was originally written down in the 6 tractates of the Mishnah. And then there's the Gemara, which is an elucidation on the Mishnah, and it's much lengthier and a lot more commentary. Most of it's in Aramaic and things like that. And then there's the level of Kabbalah, of Sod. This is like the more mystical aspect of things. So the Alter Rebbe is going to kind of talk about all of these here. So this and how each realm corresponds to one of these types of learning. So the type of learning of Mikra, of scripture, this is related to the world of Asiya, of this lowest of all worlds. And then there's Mishnah. And so Mishnah is related to the world of Yetzirah. So Mishnah reveals this unity of God in the world of Yetzirah. And Talmud, which is the Gemara, reveals the unity of God in the world of Bria. So meaning to say, so the Alter Rebbe is elaborating on this a little bit, that when we learn Mikra, when we learn scripture, then the unity of the light of God, of the light of the Or Ein Sof Baruch Hu, it's called in Hebrew, like the light of the infinite, blessed be He, spreads forth from Atzilus, the highest realm, until Asiya, the lowest realm. And when we learn Mishnah, then it only reaches up to the world of Yetzirah. So it spreads forth out from Atzilus until the realm of Yetzirah. And when we learn Talmud, when we learn Gemara, then it goes till Bria. So then it spreads forth from Atzilus into Bria, because they all exist within Atzilus. And then when we learn Kabbalah, which is the more mystical aspect of Torah, then it does not spread forth at all out of Atzilus into the other 3 realms of Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiya at all, as is written in the Pri Chaim. So that's the end of this section. So just to recap, so basically what we learned is that just like a bird, the main component of the bird is not the wings, it's the head and the body of the bird. So too, in our service of God, our wings, which is our love and fear of God, are not the main aspects of our love and fear, but rather the main aspects of our service of God is the actual practical doing of the mitzvahs and learning Torah and those kind of things. Just like with a bird, in order for it to fly, it needs wings. So too, in order to have our Torah rise up and fly up to the higher realms, we need to have that love and fear. And then we broke down a little bit more in detail what each realm, when we say flying up, what do we mean by that? And where does it become expressed, this unity? So the unity itself, again, happens by virtue of our service, and then the unity becomes revealed in the higher realms through our intention, namely through our love and fear. And so then we said that, okay, so if we're learning scripture, if we're learning Mikra, then what happens is this unity gets revealed in all 4 worlds. It reveals itself in Atzilus, because everything is in Atzilus, and then it reveals itself all through all the worlds until it reaches the world of Asiya, where it becomes revealed, because that's the lowest one. Then when we learn Mishnah, then it becomes revealed from Atzilus down till Yetzirah. When we learn Gemara, then it becomes revealed this unity from Atzilus into Bria. And when we learn Kabbalah, it only stays revealed within the world of Atzilus, because it's such a high type of learning, this mystical type of stuff. So I hope that gave you a little bit of an idea of the spiritual geography of how all of this works. And then we will continue with this tomorrow when we conclude this chapter, and I will speak to you then. Thanks for listening to the It Is Taught podcast, hosted by Sarit Switzer. This podcast is dedicated in loving memory of my maternal grandfather, Avraham Yitzchak ben Binyamin HaKohen of blessed memory. Music by Shoshana. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to support the show, please share it with others and subscribe on YouTube, Apple iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And make sure to leave us a 5-star review. To find out more about the It Is Taught project, including more information on my soon-to-be published book, please visit our website, itistaught.com. To catch the latest from me, follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Looking forward to speaking with you tomorrow, and until then, have a great day.